Professor T. Shastri is a senior professor in digital sciences at ISAM Bangalore. His research interests include supply chain and operations as well as social entrepreneurship, rural development, and good governance. He was the dean at ISAM Bangalore from 2008 to 2011. He has been visiting professors and scholars at the International University of Japan, Nagate, Japan, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, MIT Cambridge, USA, and Associate Dean, Research and Professor at the Indian School of Business. He also does pro bono work for NGOs and the development sector. His work for civil society has been recognized and he has received various awards including the CNN IBN, NDTV, TOI Indian of the Year. He has been received Distinguished Alumni Award from IIT Delhi and also Outstanding Young Teachers Award from the Association of Indian Management Schools. Now I would like to invite Sir for a talk.
Thank you for that introduction. I was hoping that the students would be here, but maybe it's and particularly want to thank my old friend Professor.
Sorry to interrupt you, one thing. So we would like to felicitate Sir, and also please give a bouquet to Sir.
Provoked by that photograph on the left side, because he is a role model for many things, including social work. So one is the simple question that why are we doing this? So I was told in a technical language that we have to motivate younger teachers to teach and expose, and therefore that students will learn and all that. So that's a good idea. But again, you have to ask why and so on. So a couple of thoughts on that. One is that, I mentioned also during lunch that there is a very famous song which was most famous of Mahatma Gandhi. It says, Vaishnav Janat Tene Kahiye, Peed Paraya Jane. It was his favorite song. And what it means, for those of us who may not know, it is supposed to be in Gujarati, but it sounds like Hindi to me. It basically means that he is a devotee of God, or he is a good person, if you don't believe in God, who understands the sorrows of others. Now that's a pretty good starting point for why are we doing all this. Because there is a lot of human suffering out there in India, a lot of poor people, lack of water, education, health, they go on and on, all these things are there. So each one of us who is interested in these things has to first ask, why am I doing this? Is it because it is now a fashionable thing, because some grant is coming, because the conference is coming, because it is fashionable to do this, or is it because we always call in management, I have a solution and I am looking for a problem. I know this, that, other technology. Now I am trying to apply it, I am trying to find a problem where I can apply it. Then you are solving your problem, you are not solving the problem of that person. So this, I would invite everybody who is interested to constantly examine why are we doing this. And second thing I would like to mention, because there was a lot of talk about going to villages and seeing this. So I'm just actually starting off from Vivekananda himself. He spent 6 years roaming around the country without a penny in his pocket. And he moved in huts, in palaces, he talked to scholars, he talked to ordinary people, and therefore he understood what India was. The other example is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. When he came back from South Africa, he went to Gopal Krishna Gokhale and said, please guide me on what I should do. So Gokhale was senior to him in age. So Gokhale said, please go around the country and see for yourself what is happening. So he actually spent, and he said a couple of things, which I mentioned in the class. That's why I was looking for the students. He said, keep your mind open. Do not form any opinion on any issue. See for yourself first, and then. So he actually did that. Gandhi spent 1 or 2 years roaming around the country. Maybe, if not 1 year, maybe 2 years. He went from village to village, went here and there, talked to people, talked to ordinary people, talked to intellectuals, talked to workers. understood the pulse of the country. So we cannot all be like Gandhi and Vivekananda, and the impact of that is huge because there are so many saints and sages India has produced. But what is different about him is that because of his exposure to India and understanding the condition of the people, he said that don't just take sannyas and go to the Himalayas. So he said, Atmano mokshatam jagat hitaya. Means for one's own salvation and jagat ke hit ke liye. Do something for the good of the society. And Gandhi also, he was constantly in touch with the so-called ordinary people. So if we want to do something, even in teaching, before we can tell students to expose and go and see rural villages, we have to be equally familiar about what is happening. So I am from Delhi, in the sense, my mother tongue is not Hindi, but I grew up in Delhi. And so I had never seen a village. So in the summer training, back in 1982, I was studying at ISAM Ahmedabad. I went to Rajasthan and spent 2 months in Kherwada block. It was eye-opener. In the 80s, the villages were very different from what they are now. And I was really, amazed to see gaon mein kya hota hai, what is the situation. I had no idea. And that permanently sort of reoriented my mind, because that is more like a rural emotion. I used to live in the village, I used to go to the villages, I used to go to the government offices, and you could see for yourself what the situation was. And later on, you were talking about ISB. I left ISB because it's very capitalist and very rich. Our salary was about 5 or 10 times the salary of what we get in NIT. I didn't like that. So I took 1 year off and I spent going from village to village. And it was a great desire to see directly what is happening. Not through the eyes of research papers, not through the eyes of technology, not through the eyes of self-appointed experts. There are many self-appointed experts in India. And being a professor, I had read enough books and seen enough research papers that is all managati. What it means is kuch nahi hone wala. Talk directly to the people and see unki kya haal hai. So whatever we started doing 20 years ago comes out of what the people have themselves seen and wanted to do. And just today I was happy to see that one of my very good friends, Nikhil Day, who works for the MKSS in Rajasthan, some big international award or some recognition he's got. He always says that the solutions have to come from the people. लोगों से बात करिए और उसका समाधान या हल वो खुद ही बताएंगे. We think that people are बेचारा, they know nothing. This is not true. No longer true. Of course, if you go there and say, I will do this, I will do this technology, that technology, I will do this. What is it? But if you talk to them, like he was telling that in the village, there is no drinking water. So this, and firstly, there is no they or us. I count personally many of the villages. We are working with 45,000 small farmers over 20 years, mostly in South India, mostly in Andhra and Telangana, a little bit in Maharashtra also. But Jharkhand में भी कुछ काम कर रहे हैं. Many of them are my friends. वो दान के पात्र नहीं है. मेरे मेहरबानी के वो नहीं है. They are my friends. I go to their homes, I eat with them. I eat vegetarian food, so they give me vegetarian food. That's not a problem. I am a Brahmin, they know by my name I am a Brahmin. But it doesn't matter. That interpersonal connection we have to establish. That other person is a human being, just like my brother or whatever, sister or something like that. That feeling, if we have, then only some meaningful work. Because before they participate in whatever activities you start, they need to feel that you value them. So Amartya Sen says, many development schemes are cunning development schemes where the poor are passive recipients of the, I am putting my words after that, passive recipients of the giant intellectual this thing that we have. We are so brilliant and those guys are so stupid that we are going to tell them what to do. This nonsense has to go. I'll give you an example why it has to go. We work with 25 45,000 farmers, he gave 2 examples, or 3. The previous president of the our Raitu Federation, means Kisan Sangathan, is Ramana Reddy. Now Ramana Reddy, he didn't go to college. Okay, for whatever reason, he didn't go to college. He is a farmer. His son works for CAD, Computer Graphics International, CGI, which is a product development company which is even more technology savvy than Infosys. And his daughter-in-law works for Infosys. And he lives in a village, Gunepalli. I've been to his house several times. Now, how did his son suddenly become so intelligent? Where did he get that intelligence from? And he didn't go to any IIT or Managati, kuch nahi. He is a bright guy. So, I'm saying that he got it from his parents. In Adilabad, we work with tribals. And the previous president again, Madan Saab, he was a tribal. His son is a PhD and is a professor of economics in Hyderabad. So how did this son suddenly become intelligent? Father must be intelligent. My theory is that 1 to 5% of people anywhere in the country, including Madhya Pradesh, are very intelligent. Statistically, it has to be so, including women. We ignore them. All of them are intelligent and they are there in the villages even now. Our job is to establish a person-to-person connection with them, listen to them, and help them to solve their own problem, because if they could have solved it on their own, they would have done it. So, a little bit of external help is required. I am not saying it is not required, but more as friends and equals rather than as कि हम मैरिट में हम वो 2 चीज बैठे हुए हैं, हमको ये मालूम है वो मालूम है, आप लोग सुनिए जी, हम आपकी सेवा करने आए हैं. ये सब बकवास बंद करना पड़ेगा. It has to be equal relationship, and that has to be inculcated in the courses that we teach with the students also. The courses that we teach. Second thing I wanted to mention is about, we're going to spend all our lifetime trying to understand what the problem is. Maybe our personal evolution will happen, but what is the use? We can't spend all the time trying to understand what the problem is. Now, these are the things now. People are still trying to understand what the problem is. This is no good. We have to start solving, getting the thing done out there. So, here also what we found is, I'm not against technology. Technology is very useful and I can talk a little bit about technology, but I have found again and again that people are able to, if you empower them, they are actually able to solve their own problems. We work on a model which is more like collectivizing people. So we basically do farmer cooperatives. So farmer cooperatives is basically, we find that farmers are committing suicide, they are coming to towns. पलायन बोलते नहीं क्या? पलायन तेलुगु से वाला पलायन है, पलायन हो रहा है, माइग्रेट पलायन हो रहा है. So that is because we find another funny thing, that those who are in agri-business, आरती, दलाल, खुंचोस, मकीचोस और जिनके भी बड़े-बड़े कारखाने मिलते हैं, वो सब मोटे हो रहे हैं, ताजे हो रहे हैं, सब पैसा बना रहे हैं. That means there is money in agriculture, but the farmer is not getting. So what we have done with our farmers is, we are moving them at up the value chain. जैसे मूंगफली का सीड बनाओ, मूंगफली के सीड का स्नैक्स बनाओ, उसका पीनट बटर बनाओ. पीनट बटर 500 रुपए में बिकता है, जो है 70 रुपए में बिकता है. So, but this can't be done individually. So there is a whole lot of social mobilization which has. Now there all the technology comes in. What technology are you going to use for that? All that comes in, but it has to be for a purpose. And many things the farmers are figuring out. So I'll give an example of the technologies. See, Infosys Foundation, then chairman Sudha Murthy, she asked a simple question, that all these technology which you are also asking, by the way, are only for the well-to-do and those who can afford it. Why can't we bring the fruits of technology to the poor? Now she is not a technologist, but she has Infosys Foundation behind her. They called for applications, and for 3 years I was on the jury to select. So they were getting hundreds and thousands of applications. So they had a team who would shortlist it, and then 30 every year would make a presentation and 10 of them would get an award. I'll just give you 2-3 examples. So he was talking about water. There were 3 students from a college which I had not heard of in semi-rural Maharashtra. उनको बेचारों को ठीक से अंग्रेजी बोलनी नहीं आती थी. They were telling about what they had done. So what they had figured out is, some version of Bernoulli's principle. They found that if you can increase the pressure by taking the water up from the hand pump and pass it through a nozzle where it goes through some 500 psi or something, actually bacteria die, which is well known. So they actually made that. And then they installed it as a pilot in some village. And after 30 days they wanted to take it away, and the sarpanch said, "नहीं, इसको यहीं पे रहने दीजिए." He said, "Why? Because यहाँ पे dysentery खत्म हो गई, because bacteria को मार दिया उसने." And another place, you see, in Anantapur and many parts of India, fluoride is a problem. Drinking water fluoride is a problem. One of those guys, he had actually demonstrated that how we can, some basic chemistry which I don't know that much, of removing the fluoride. So it's not that technology. So there was one farmer who came. He said, "नंगे English गोतिला नन कन्नड़ा दल्ली मारते थे." मैं कन्नड़ा में बोलूँगा. उसको अंग्रेजी नहीं आती थी. He was speaking Kannada. Farmer था. So he said कि we have to spend so much money on pesticide and worms. What is this? Machhar, which attack the fruits. So one day he was sitting in a hotel, or some dhaba there. They have this blue light where so he said, "Why can't I put it on the farm?" So he actually did it. So he did some experimentation and he made these things which attract the insects, and below that he put one water, the same. So मच्छर वहाँ जाके मर के वहाँ गिरता है. उनको मालूम है सब, but we don't value that experience, and we have to put them on the job. कि भाई थोड़ा engineering इसमें लगाओ, जो भी करना है तुम करो. So the talent is already there, the motivation is already there, and our job as self-appointed educators is to make it happen. And I feel a couple of things will help. As I said, there are 3 courses that we are teaching, and I heard about ISB, Dhanbad, and some of the presentations. Some excellent courses are going on, and there is much to learn from everybody. But one common theme that comes is a very strong field component. So field component where we have a project which is half the course, grade is about 40% of the course is on the project, where they have to immerse themselves and see the reality for themselves. And we also try to inculcate an attitude. See, the attitude of students in IIT and IIMs is that we are फन्ने खान, हमको सब कुछ मालूम है. हम गांव में जाके वो गरीब लोगों को जाके हम ज्ञान देंगे. तो ऐसे ये जरूरत कभी नहीं करना. Don't give any ज्ञान to anybody. Go in humility and learn. Because they immediately say, "Sir, if they do like this organization की strategy ऐसे बदल देंगे तो ये हो जाएगा." मैंने कहा बकवास वाले तू, can you set up an organization? Can you dedicate your life for the poor? That person has given up better options and he is spending his whole life working for the poor. अब तू उसको ज्ञान दे रहा है. अभी तू second year में है, तो अभी तो नौकरी भी करनी शुरू नहीं की, तू उसको क्या ज्ञान देगा? I just tell them very bluntly that no ज्ञान, appreciative inquiry, and 360-degree view. 360-degree view is that you learn actually by seeing and experiencing some of these things, not from the textbooks. One is, of course, I feel that the genuine founders who actually work with the poor, they can inspire young people. Again and again, I've seen. We bring 3 guest speakers who have done national level work as guest speakers. So this year, I got one girl called Samina Banu. So she was from IIM Bangalore, Dean's List. She got what they call a day zero job in Deloitte. She was working in New York and making big bucks. अब उसका दिमाग खराब हो गया. She said, मुझे गरीबों की सेवा करनी है. Now she is in Lucknow. She has started some Right Work Foundation और केवल 4 लाख गरीब बच्चों को स्कूल में डाल रहा है. Now instead of saying I have to मैं उसको क्लास में बुला लेता हूँ, तो अगले दिन को बता. It is like magic. It is fire, आग लग जाती है. And particularly the girls, yeah, ये तो असली है. This is for real. This is not a joke. I mean, she's standing in front of me, and she was a student like me, and she is doing this, and she has put 4 lakh children back to school. So that lights a fire in everybody. Then I called another friend of mine, Abhay. He, like that, there are hundreds. He is from originally, his ancestry is from Bihar, but he's the reverse of me. He grew up in South India, so he speaks Telugu, Kannada, everything, but he talks to his mother in Bhojpuri. तो वो कर्नाटक में, नॉर्थ कर्नाटक में वन मैन आर्मी काम कर रहा है. He is working with only 2 lakh people. And his NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. You know how the government schemes work? He sat on dharna, उनको नाक में दम कर दिया सरकार. Now he works in about 11 or 12 districts, संगठन बनाए हैं और 2 लाख लोगों को हर साल 30,000 रुपया मिलता है. So I call him to the class. So they can see that this fellow is there in front of me and he is doing this work. So we learn, especially at a young age, by seeing real life examples. I have, because of the 20 years of work I have personally been doing in the villages, one big bonus is you meet some outstanding human beings who can inspire. We have to get them into the class and young people listen to them. Somebody was asking why should they listen? Sir, उनके पाँव छूने के लिए तैयार है आज भी बच्चे. ऐसे बोल के. क्यों नहीं होंगे? Don't dismiss the young people. They are being polite. They say यार ये बूढ़े लोगों की बात क्यों सुनूं मैं? क्या है? What is there? It is not their fault. It is our fault. We have failed to inspire them. But when they get see inspiring examples, it works. People come and tell me, sir, this course has changed my life. I said, you are getting emotional, just relax. Let's see, wait for 5 or 10 years, then we will see. Several of them, I mean, at least 2 examples. He says, sir, I was in London, I was working for Goldman Sachs, मेरे को मजा नहीं आ रहा है, मैंने छोड़ दिया, अब मैं social sector में गया. If in every batch you get 1 or 2 people like that, it's good enough. The purpose of the course is done. So I think I have spoken a little bit harshly, so my apologies for that. So I'll stop here because I can go on and on. But I would be happy to help and work with anybody who is interested in these topics, and of course my old friend Lakshman Rao. And if there are any comments or advice, please, I'm here to listen to you.
I have a very important say. For example, yesterday Dr. Hati was told.
Who?
Hati from Brahma member, who was so one of the things that we are wanting to do is to sensitize people, and this so-called evaluation is also there. Part of it is they give one lecture, and the rest of it is the people are supposed to go there and come up with some solutions and all that. Now, in the matrix of evaluation, how do you assess humility?
Whether for this work or at a personal level or from a spiritual point, humility is the highest virtue. There is no question about it. Humility doesn't mean that I'm survived. You can combine dynamism and active work with humility. Humility is an attitude of mind. Right? We have to be humble. We have to have humility.
Tell me one typical question you ask somebody who presents something. It is typical so that people get an idea how you could incorporate that in their evaluation.
No, see, the message is there from the beginning to the students that you are there when you are doing your field project. You are not there, at least if they are asking for solutions, I have no comment. I said you are not there to give solutions, you are there to learn. Firstly, learn about the situation, learn about the organization that they usually work with an NGO. That's why I given the list of NGOs. And get into the mind of the founder. You see, when you see an outstanding human being, so there is one Mr. Srinivasan, okay, he is 81 or 82. At a young age, he decided to work for the blind. He comes from a very well-educated family, and he set up the Ramana Maharshi School of the Blind, which is not very far from IIM. He is inspired by Ramana Maharshi. And for the last 50 years, he has been running a school for blind children who are from very poor background. So when the student goes and talks to Mr. Srinivasan, they automatically get humility. You automatically become humble in the presence of real greatness. So we try to, when they see the three guest speakers, I can't call Mr. Srinivasan because he's very old, so he's not able to come. When they see genuine people who have done outstanding work, each one of us become humble. You don't have to teach humility. Automatically you become humble. Yeah, इनके साथ में कुछ भी नहीं. Bas, that's it. Not, we have to do that. देखो कितना बढ़िया है. She wants to do this. And then regional prejudices go. Because I am a South Indian, she's a Sardarbi. But what a beautiful human being she is. I mean, she's so interesting. So you can be humble even in front of young people. There's nothing wrong with that. Long-minded answer.
हेलो सर, थैंक यू सो मच. आपने बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन दिया, बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे. मतलब जैसे गांव में जाते हैं तो स्वाभाविक है कि उनकी अपनी क्वालिटी है, दे कैन टीच अस. और मैं तो ये कहूँगा कि हम में कुछ अच्छी बात है तो बड़ी विनम्रता से उनको बात करके दोनों के उससे एक नया सोल्यूशन निकले. और अल्टीमेटली सर मेरा ये सोच रहता है कि जो आज क्लाइमेट चेंज और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग का जो इशू हो रहा है, इसको लोग मतलब समझ नहीं पा रहे कि अभी जैसे युद्ध हो रहा है अभी, तो ये जो वर्ल्ड वार की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं, यदि वर्ल्ड वार होता है तो लोग जो है जो टेम्परेचर बढ़ना है वो 50 साल में बढ़ने वाला है, वो बहुत जल्दी बढ़ जाए.
सर हम क्लाइमेट चेंज की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. आप
नहीं, मैं आ रहा हूँ थोड़ा सा सर. उसी में तो जो अपना जो लाइफ स्टाइल है सर, गांव में भी चेंज हुआ है सर, और अपने शहर में तो हुआ ही, गांव में भी बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है. तो हम लोग अपने लेवल पर तो अपन इको फ्रेंडली लाइफ स्टाइल को अपना रहे, और दूसरा उनको भी हम लोग जहाँ गलत कर रहे हैं. यस, आई वांटेड टू कम इन दिस पॉइंट ओनली कि अभी मुझे बताया था सर ने, राकेश सर ने, कि IIT मद्रास में ये लैब है, वो गिलास से पानी पीते हैं. तो मैंने उनको बोला भी कि भाई यहाँ पर जो डायरेक्टर सर वगैरह को थोड़ा सा आप रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे तो अच्छी चीजें यहाँ भी शुरू हो जाएंगी. तो हर लेवल पर सर हमको कुछ गलतियाँ हमारी हैं, हमको सुधार करना पड़ेगा. और हर लेवल पे जैसे गांव की भी कुछ गलतियाँ हैं काफी, जो उनका भी बहुत ज्यादा जो नैतिक पतन हुआ है, शहर में भी गांव में भी, तो पूरा देश का ही वो है. तो एक कलेक्टिवली हम लोग जो पॉजिटिव वर्क के लिए बैठे हैं, तो इसी तरह से मिलते रहें और हम लोग कुछ अच्छा करने का प्रण लें और उसको इम्प्लीमेंट में लाएं.
इरादा तो अच्छा है
जी, बहुत अच्छा इरादा है सर. इसलिए मैं मतलब मेरे पास टाइम नहीं रहता है, पर मैं लगातार 2 दिन दिया मैं. और थैंक यू अखिलेश बर्वे जी,
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू.
आपने काफी अच्छा अवसर दिया. और मैं तो खुश हूँ कि गांव में जो है, मतलब ओरिजिनल मैं बिलीव यही करता हूँ कि हमको ज्यादा से ज्यादा समय गांव में ही रहना चाहिए, उनके साथ में रह के कुछ हम लोग सीखें.
You know, the rural thing, many of you must have seen, the dividing line between rural and urban is very rapidly blurring. Because the smartphone is available. I was sitting under a tamarind tree in Chaibasa in tribal Jharkhand, because there they get tamarind and they sell it for 15 rupees, and the maximum consumption of tamarind is in South India. So every household will eat the sambar or rasam mein arud dalte. Or by the time we buy it, it is at 200 and they are selling. So we were trying to set up some cooperative and all that sort of thing. Now I was telling them about certain things. कि इसका कितने का दाम है टैमरिंड का. कहते सर हम तो ऐसे थोक में दे देते हैं. तो हिसाब लगाया, they can do calculation, तो 10 रुपया किलो. तो मैंने कहा कि चेन्नई में कितने का, बैंगलोर में कितने का, हमें नहीं मालूम. So I just opened some big basket website. Then those fellows started opening. वो अंग्रेजी में है, but they can see ये भी दिख रहा है और ये 20 रुपये 200 रुपये में दिख रहा है. So it is that, it's not that they don't know, they know who, that we lost the World Cup, and they will tell you a theory of why we lost the World Cup, and Rohit Sharma should have played more carefully instead of trying to hit a 6 on every ball. Because सब कुछ मालूम है आजकल. But we have to energize them and enable them to do it. And the rural-urban divide, गांव में रहना चाहिए, their aspirations are no different from ours. In third-tier towns, in Uttumur, when I went there 20 years ago, mobile phone नहीं चलता था, laptop नहीं था, internet connection नहीं था, और खाने को एक जगह में नहीं थी. There was nothing. I used to eat in somebody's house. Today there is a supermarket there. People drive up in cars and there is a supermarket. तो ये उस गांव में, तो ये तो मध्य प्रदेश में भी हो रहा होगा. So, let us think as human beings rather than that old paradigm of rural versus urban. ये सब तो नहीं होगा. And there is already they are predicting that in 10 years, India will have more urban population than, and God forbid what the cities will look like. But urbanization हो रहा है. I mean, my parents grew up in a village. What would be counted as a village today? All of us, 2-3 generations ago, we came from villages. Very few people are actually from a city. So that, in our case, the urbanization started 2-3 generations ago. Now it is happening for everybody. इसका क्या करोगे? You can't stop it. It's about human development rather than anything else.
Sir, there is one question. As I am also teaching course on entrepreneurship. So normally we motivate students by money only, like why you have to chase money, and then otherwise they will not go towards the entrepreneurship. So that is what our motto, that how to charge them to start their own startups. So then they will be free and their next generation will be free from this kind of things. So once we talk about the social entrepreneurship, the main constraint is about the money. You don't have money, you're not coming to this business for the money purpose. While when we are thinking about the startups, we are going for the money purpose. So is it right to start or to motivate them the first startup as a social enterprising, and how commercial enterprising and social enterprise, how to make a balance of it? Means it's better once they are starting their business and then they are in some stage, then they can start the social enterprising for the benefit of society. So it will be sustainable. Otherwise, sustainability will be the issue. So can you?
What is the question?
The question is what sustainability of the person, of a particular startup, a particular enterprise. If they start with the social enterprising and it goes on the charity basis totally, so then how he will earn money and how he will survive?
Very true. That's a good. So what? This is my personal opinion. I have been a failure in motivating anybody to do anything. कोई किसी की बात नहीं सुनता. Even the young people. आपके सामने आदर पूर्वक पेश होंगे, but वो करेंगे जो उनको करना है. So our job is to expose them to the best ideas, if possible, to even slightly inspiring ideas, and they will take whatever they want. Now if you tell them do this, do that, they will go and do whatever they want to. So why should I worry about it? I don't do all that. I don't worry about, and if anybody by chance asks for advice, with more people come.
Normally,
I try to find out what do you want, and if I said do what, so you just confirm whatever they want. That's the advice. They want you to confirm what they've already decided. They don't want your advice.
No sir, normally our students are young, 18 years, 19 years old. And at your colleges they are coming in the 23 years after graduation. And here they are trying to think in their directions.
No, even for the 18, 19-year-old, I agree with you. It's your choice. But I generally, because some of my friends will bring their son or daughter, कि तुम इसको advise दो. मैंने कहा मैं कहाँ से advise दूँगा? कहता मेरी बात नहीं सुन रहा है. तू मैं तेरे पास ले आया. So I do that only. I ask them what do you want. If they're not clear, I say you find out. But don't get into something which you don't like. You're spending your whole life doing something which you don't like because somebody else said. It's stupid. take some time and figure out what you like and do that. जिसमें आपको मजा आता है. बस यही बोल रहा हूँ. Whether it is social or non-social, because I think it has to come from the heart. You cannot convince somebody to do good and be good. Maybe Vivekananda can, but I cannot. I cannot convince anybody to be good and good.
Sort of building on what he was asking, maybe as a while developing a course and its content, is there any balance between? He's trying to say that there are two separate things. One is entrepreneurship and one is social entrepreneurship.
Correct.
Social entrepreneurship necessarily means less earning.
Yes.
So is there a balance between these two types of things when you develop a course content?
No, that's true. But you see, I don't talk too much about business because we are in a management school. In the first day I say that all your courses are about business and entrepreneurship. Here we are going to talk about Samaj Seva in a non-profit way. And you know, the sustainability question that you have raised, they also have, because there is a strong mindset that for profitable organizations are sustainable and others are not sustainable. So one of them did a project with Shivanahalli. There is a Ramakrishna Mission Swamiji who works in the rural areas. And I asked him, is it sustainable? No sir, they depend on grants. So what is an example of a sustainable organization? For profit, I said Infosys. Yeah. I said let us look 100 years into the future. Which will survive? Will the Ramakrishna Mission survive? Or will Infosys survive? Should go down. Then I said, look at Oxford and Cambridge University. They depend on government grants. 1,000 years. Even now, Oxford and Cambridge are in the top 5 universities of the world. They are not for profit. Apple, $100 billion of profit, some obscene amount of profit. Profit, not 99 or $98 billion of profit. Apple. I said, after 1,000 years or 500 years, will Oxford University survive or will Apple survive? You tell me, sir. So this notion of what is sustainable is a very funny notion. So I tell them, if you do, if an organization does work, or you know, Kashi Vishwanath Temple, the Sringeri Math has no money. 1,000 years, 1,200 years. कुछ पैसा नहीं है, दान पुण्य में जीते. No scandal, 1,200 years. कुछ no non-sustainable. तुम बताओ कौन सा business 1,200 years will survive. So if an organization is delivering value to society in some form, education, spiritual education, whatever it is they are doing, and society values it, it will sustain. It doesn't matter whether it is for profit or not for profit. That's what I tell them. They don't agree with me but they can't argue with me. What is the revenue model? Zero. दान पुण्य में जीते हैं. 500 साल के बाद रामकृष्ण मिशन रहेगा कि नहीं आप बताइए. रहेगा. So it is sustainable.
But people are not thinking about the organization. They normally think about themselves. So their life is 50 years.
Correct. So from their own point of view, see, the survival instinct is so strong in each one of us. Forget about even in us. So we know how to survive. So they will not do anything which will put them on the street. That's what I feel.
Moral values को यदि adopt करेंगे सभी लोग तो कुछ अच्छा ही होगा सर.
नहीं, सभी लोग नहीं कर पाते हैं, गिने चुने लोग ही करते हैं. But you know what the advantage of such courses I find, and all of you are teaching wonderful courses, is that जो बात दिल में छुपी होती है लोगों के, बच्चों के, when they see the example, कहते हाँ यार ये कहीं मैंने पहले कहीं छुपा हुआ था, ये बात मुझे अच्छी लगी. What is already in their mind, you expose them and that comes out and they go towards the positive. That much you can do. But अगर उसके दिल में कुछ है ही नहीं, तो पैसे कमाने हैं, तो वो नहीं सुनेगा आपकी बात. You can't motivate such people. At least I can't.
But actually, sorry to interrupt. Right now in the business, particularly entrepreneurship, we always teach the student that only आपको पैसे कमाना है. That is, and this statement, the first day means I've gone through so many lectures I've seen. So big shot speakers also say means आपको बस पैसे के बारे में सोचना है. Then you will be the successful
person. I will send you a suggestion list of 10 people you can add and subtract जिन्होंने अपना लाइफ न्यौछावर कर दिया समाज सेवा में, but they had better options. अब 10,000 को बुलाइए, but लोग कहेंगे यार ये तो पूरा छाप है, उसको और क्या आपको मौका था? Because the psychology I heard from the village. I was in the village, and the father had started a school for garib children, and the son had gone and got a PhD. And his father was saying, why are you going to Hyderabad and trying to earn money? Why don't you work in the school? So he says, no. Then they were arguing in front of me. And then he said, look at so and so. There is a guy called Subba from IIT Madras. वो सब कुछ छोड़ के वो गांव में बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा था. This is Subba is doing that. Then he says, when Subba does it, they say that he had an option. He studied in IIT and he gave it up and is working in the village. So what a great guy. If I do it, he's a useless fellow. So get examples of people who had very good. I will give you a list. Call them and have once a month have a lecture.
Sure.
And try to somebody said I'm feeling sick. बच्चों को बोलना आपको आगे सुनना है. सुन लीजिए बाद में.
Sure.
Yes.
That makes what he's saying. Now keep on telling them to earn money. Suddenly see that no, it's not the only thing. There are people who are doing wonderful work. Young people are looking for heroes and heroines and role models. I'm telling you. कुछ नहीं मिला तो नरेंद्र मोदी को पकड़ लेते. इससे अच्छा और भी तो अच्छे लोग हमारे चाहिए. नहीं तो सलमान खान और सम खान और the other somebody other उसको role model बना.
Sir, actually, I think
उसके पीछे तो आगे लोग.
yes.
इससे अच्छा तो अच्छे role model के लिए.
But actually, who is not having initial stage money means person they are thinking means that कि पहले हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है तो उनका पहला टेंशन रहता है कि पहले पैसे कमा लें और फिर पैसे कमाने के बाद पता चलता है कि मतलब अगर वो उनके साथ अच्छी संगति में रहते कि नाउ मनी इज नॉट एवरीथिंग. बट अगर आप गरीब हैं तो पहले तो थॉट ये आता है कि अगर हम सोसाइटी को देखते हैं मीन्स क्या कैसे कि हम पैसे की तरफ भी अट्रैक्ट होते हैं. अगर हमारे पास खाना नहीं है जो भी है तो हमारे
मैं जो मेरे समझ में आया आपको ऐसा लगता है कि बच्चे नहीं सुनने जाते हैं आप मत करो. There is no argument there. You already know what the young people think. I also already know what the young people think. You think they are not going to listen? If there is no point wasting your time, don't do it. I will do this. I will continue to do it.
आप सही बोल रहे हैं सर. मेरा ये अनुभव है कि मैं सरकारी जॉब में था सर. मेरी बहन शहीद हुई थी आतंकवादियों से लड़ते हुए. तो फिर मेरे उससे फीलिंग था बहुत ज्यादा. तो मैं सोचता था नींद नहीं आती थी. तो फिर आई लेफ्ट जॉब. तो जॉब छोड़ा तो सबसे पहले मैंने फिर इश्यूज को उठाया क्योंकि मैं जहाँ रहता हूँ तो वो अपनी माँ है. वहाँ से दाना पानी में उनको जीवन मिलता है. तो यहाँ तक इश्यूज उठाए सर हमने. तो मेरे बड़े ब्रदर IAS ऑफिसर है, मेरे ब्रदर GM है इंडियन आर्मी में. तो उन्होंने सबने बोला कि आप मत करो ये, पहले पैसा कमा लो फिर समाज सेवा करना. तो पर ये दिल से आती है सर कि आप अपने मतलब खर्चों को कम करके तो आप जो चाहे कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि मेरे साथ बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल है कि बहुत सारे लोगों को भेजते थे मुझे समझाने के लिए. वो बोलते थे कि भाई हम पहले पैसा कमा लें फिर हम करेंगे, ऐसा करेंगे वैसा करेंगे. पर आज मैं देखता हूँ कि उनके पास बहुत पैसा है पर वो दूसरी प्रॉब्लम से फंसते हैं. तो वो दे डोंट गेट टाइम फॉर सोशल वर्क है जो करते हैं. तो जिसको जज्बा रहता है तो उनको क्या है कष्ट उठाना पड़ता है. आप अपने हिस्से का मान लीजिए 1 रोटी और 2 लोग हैं तो आपको आधा आधा करके खाने की भावना होना चाहिए. तो काम हो जाता है क्योंकि ये अपने जो मोरल वैल्यूज हैं मतलब ह्यूमन होने के गौरव प्राप्त कर सकते हैं आपको. तो इसलिए सर मतलब आपने जो बोला है बहुत बढ़िया. मतलब रिफ्रेश हो गए आज हम लोग.
Just get them good role models, live role, not on online. जिनके वो हाथ मिला के बात कर सकते हैं. ऐसे हमारे देश में 100 नहीं तो 1000 लोग
है सर.
just expose young people to them. It does very
कल मैं बता रहा था सर, जादव मायंग जी हैं जो असम में है।
मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल बताता हूँ। American example which when I tell in the class will be just quiet. There's an American guy called Chuck Finney. He's only Charles. He is now 90 years old and he's broke. When he was about 50 years old, he had made $8 billion, which was a lot of money then. He set up these duty-free shops. He came from a very ordinary working class family, but America में धंधा करके made. And suddenly something happened to him, and he says that, you know, all this lifestyle of cars and yachts and aeroplanes and parties, मेरे को मजा नहीं आ रहा है. So he created a trust, and he told his close friend two things: that I want to die broke. I want to give away my money before I die. And number two, that nobody should know where the money is coming from. Neki karo aur kuएं में डालो. So the first $600 million he gave without anybody, the condition he used to give is nobody should know where the money is. Then of course, then he started this giving pledge. In fact, Bill Gates got motivated to the giving pledge because of Chuck Finney. Then he started giving money in South Africa. He's from Ireland. I mean, his gurus are from Ireland. Obviously, Ireland में दिया, South Africa में दिया, वियतनाम में दिया. जहाँ जहाँ अमेरिका ने बर्बाद किया था, बॉम्ब डाले थे, वहाँ जाकर पैसा दिया उसने. And he's become broke. इसके पैसे नहीं. So somebody I know very well. He went to meet him. His name is also. He's a wonderful guy. His name is. इसको आप बुलाएंगे तो इसके लिए आ जाएगा वो. Amit Chandra is chairman of Bain Capital. He has put 90% of his money into a trust. He's still the chairman of Bain Capital, but he spent most of his time on social work. मैं उसके साथ फील्ड में मैं खुद गया हूँ. मतलब sitting on the steps, he says he has some gluten problem, तो वो उपमा नहीं खा सकता, इडली खा सकता है. तो कहीं से इडली मंगा के उसको खिलाया. It's like that. So he went to meet Chuck Finney, and Chuck Finney lives in a one-bedroom house. उनको पैसा नहीं है. And American style, when they see it, it's a lot more fun to give away the money when you are alive than when you are dead. Only Americans can say this. क्योंकि you can see the impact of your money when you give it. मरने के बाद देने का क्या फायदा? स्वर्ग जाएंगे, स्वर्ग है कि नहीं मालूम नहीं. स्वर्ग चले जाते उसको स्वर्ग ही जाना है. उसको यहीं पे स्वर्ग माने थे उनके नया कानून. अगर स्वर्ग है तो उसको जमीन पे उतारेंगे तो उसने उतारा है. यहीं पे उसने उतारा, अपने लिए स्वर्ग बनाया. तो when they see such examples, students really get inspired. ऐसे हैं दुनिया में अभी भी हैं लोग. ये नहीं कि आप वहाँ पे उस जमाने की बात कर रहे हैं. गांधी जी विवेकानंद तो है ही, but there are many good examples in India. We have to just dig them out and show them. Our job is to expose and inspire. All these technical things the student will figure out.
So, just like this list of NGOs that you have shared, would be really helpful if you can share this list of. No. Please share the list of all these personalities.
Yes, let us do that.
It would be really good resource for all the
Yes,
organizations.
this is our collective responsibility as self-appointed educators. We have to expose the young generation to all this. I will send it. I'll send it to Lakshman and he can share it. And some of them I know personally. I have their email and contact. Some of them we will have to find.
But we can give your reference to them.
Some of them you can give my reference, yeah. No, because they are such good people. They also want to help the young generation.
So one small question I have was that you have been interacting with or working with these various types of cooperatives for so long. So, so the functioning of cooperatives, I mean, there are different types of experiences in that. But then overcoming the motivation of personal optimization or personal maximization in terms of the profits and gains, and how to work as a cooperative, because there is a lot of compromise or some kind of adjustment has to be done when you want to work as a group. So have you seen any change in the attitude? I mean, was it so that in early era cooperatives were easier to form and now it is difficult, or other way around? Because FPOs and all are new forms of cooperative also, we can
Those
say.
are basically cooperatives. So, see, in the olden days, people used to be called depressed classes. Then they were called scheduled caste. Now they are called Dalit. But it is the same people. In America, they used to call them niggers, Negroes, blacks. Now they call them Afro-Americans. Because every word becomes negative, then after 20 years they change the word. That's what they say. Cooperative has become a bad word, so they call it FPO. It's a cooperative. It requires a long discussion, but I will take this opportunity to invite each and everyone here on the third Saturday of every month. We have a board of directors meeting of the farmers. I generally go, but if some of you are coming, I will make a special plan to go. It is about 1.5 to 2 hours away from Bangalore airport, and you can see for yourself what is happening. So this thing about why cooperatives don't work well is a long question, and I don't want to bore everybody because it might be of special interest to you. But one-line sutra which I got from Dr. Kurian of Amul fame: a cooperative is of the farmers, by the farmers, for the farmers. It is like democracy. In India, it is democracy only in name. It is not of the people, by the people, for the people. So cooperative also been messed up. The government subsidy, giant intellectual schemes, socialists, communists, capitalists, everybody have their view. सबसे हम राय लेते हैं, एक वर्ग से नहीं लेते हैं, किसानों से नहीं पूछते कि बंदा तेरी रजा क्या है, पूछते से. So we don't ask them, but we do that. We don't give. So Korean used to say the best way to follow cooperative is to give them lots of subsidies and doles. And the moment you say this, then you will say you are a capitalist, you are anti-socialism, कुछ भी बोलना, because we are working for our ideology, we are not working for the people. हमारे दिमाग में कुछ ideology है. So we don't give anything for free. So I'll give you an example. The latest third mill they set up in Tadimari, some village, small town in Anantapur district. They came to me some 3-4 years ago. They had been working for 20 years. They want to set up another mill, groundnut processing mill. So, కొంచెం సహాయం చేయండి, do some help. So I said, how much will it cost? They said, some 30 lakhs, it became 40 lakhs. So they know that I will not do, but they still ask, I will not do. I said, how many bags of groundnut will you get? They said, 20,000 bags. So I said, per bag, how much is it? That much arithmetic they know. 20,000 into 200 is 40 lakhs. उनको मालूम है, इतना तो arithmetic सबको आती है. तो मैंने कहा, लाइफ में एक बैग मूंगफली का आपको एक बार 200 रुपया देना है. सब चुप. मैंने कहा, यहाँ कोई है जिसके पास मोबाइल फोन नहीं है? सब चुप. मैंने 200 रुपये की आती है क्या? आप चुप. मैंने कहा, सस्ते से सस्ता मोबाइल 5,000 10,000 से कम का स्मार्ट फोन है लोगों के पास आजकल. तो 200 रुपये नहीं दे सकते. दिया, मिल बनाया, they invited me for the inauguration. So the initial years is in getting people together, and when they put their own money, things happen. And there is a dharma, which Korean used to say, but I discovered it independently. मैं सरकार से चोरी करूंगा, मैं इनकम टैक्स नहीं भरूंगा, मैं रिश्वत लूंगा, मैं रिश्वत दूंगा, मैं सारे गलत काम करूंगा, फिर मंदिर जाऊंगा, बट मैं पड़ोसी के पैसों को नहीं चोरी करूंगा. ये धर्म है. Even in the villages, they get into fights, but they don't go and burn the guy's crop. रात को जाके उसके नहीं करते हैं. ये धर्म है. So when the money is collected from the people, those who they select among themselves to manage that cooperative, their dharma is that they cannot touch that money. Of course, even if they know कि ऐसा थप्पड़ पड़ेगा कि सारे लोगों ने सरकार का पैसा लूटो, कोई कुछ नहीं पूछेगा. और लूट ही रहे हैं हम पे, गांव में सरकार का कुछ, बट पड़ोसी का पैसा नहीं लूटना. So if you go with that sense of community, then it works. There are many details, but just in a simple form I'm telling you. And the governments don't like it. The politicians don't like it. What we are doing.
और एक्सीलेंट, जो वास्तव में जो कुछ कड़वे शब्द बोलते हैं तो लोगों को पसंद नहीं आते, पर वो वास्तव में करने की आवश्यकता है।
I try not to be positive, but I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Sir, no need to apologize for anything, any harsh word. Actually, I think you are the senior most among all of us. Okay. So we are just learning, and just you think we are learner, and we came here to learn. That's why we are asking this kind of question, how to motivate and how to initiate the things. Okay. So, and you are the most experienced among us.
Sir, actually, suppose there is a condition that there is a young person who is 21 years old and he wants to work for social welfare. But the problem is that his whole family is dependent on him. Nobody is there other than him to give him money for the family. And also the family have an expectation from him that he will take him out of this current situation that they don't have money and all. So, sir, in that situation, what that person will do? And because his intention are pure that he want to work for the society, he want to work for the social welfare, but he can't leave their parents also for so that if he will work for the society, then how means in his mind the question will always arise that what he have done for his parents or for his family who has made him too educated and
Same question.
Yeah, very good question. So there is no answer for this. I can only give you one story. So there is a very good friend of ours, unfortunately died. His name is Subbaraj, and he is from IIT Madras. He is a BTech from IIT Madras.
He is from IT.
He maybe he was his guide. He also did. He also did PhD from IIT Bombay later. But anyway, whatever. So Subha I used to know very well. He in his early 50s he got a stroke and died. But the story is in a response to your question. He grew up in a slum. His father died when he was 3. So the family moved to Tirupati, which is also my hometown, and they lived in a slum. And every once in a while the police used to come and throw them out, and they used to go and live in the jungle. Then after 3 days they used to come back. And he says on the 3rd house there was a daru pi the. Slums mein aisa hota hai. So he grew up in that environment. And he was little lucky because he was intelligent. And he got into AP government program called AP Residential School Program. Even at young children there is some competitive exam. He got selected, and that is a pretty good system even now. And without any coaching or anything, and his relatives are supposed to be forward caste. I don't want to give the caste. He got into IIT. After he finished IIT, his expectation obviously of his family. His elder brother was a khalasi, chaprasi in a government office. And the family expectation is that you will help us. But uske dimag to kharab tha uska. He said, I have come out of this situation because of education, to main bachchon ko padhaun. So he went to Channakattapalli, which is a back of the yard somewhere in Anantapur. Started working with Timbuktu, and when I first met him, he was taking 2,000 rupees salary. And his family had to accept it. He says, so it depends on the individual what he wants to do. But aisa nahi hai ki the family was starving and on the streets or anything. I met them later on. They are okay, but maybe they don't have gadi, ghoda, bangla, aeroplane, maybe ghumte honge. But they are all right. But he wanted to do this. So it's an individual choice. Individual choice.
sir, I have an opinion for this.
Yes.
As somebody is doing some social work without money, according to me, there should be some plan so that while doing some social work, he must get that much enough money, so earning, so that he can
do that. If that's what you want, you please do that. Nothing wrong. If you think that you must get enough money, do it. But what is enough money? That is another issue. That is another. You see, my friends are worth. Many of them are worth more than 100 crores. You know, I had the misfortune of going to IIT, IIM. Many of them are entrepreneurs who America में काम करते हैं. 100 करोड़ क्यों लिए? मेरे पास तो 100 करोड़ है नहीं. अब मेरे से भी नीचे लोग हैं, उनसे भी नीचे लोग हैं. तो what is enough?
But basic.
What is enough?
Suppose there is a person who don't have means these three basic needs also.
मैं सुपर से बढ़िया कहानी नहीं सुना सकता. आप अपने गरीब फैमिली के नहीं हैं, जितना सुपर रहा है. मैं कितनी बार वो कहानी सुनाऊं, उसके बारे में गौर करो और जो मन में आया वो करो. I am not saying that you follow Subha. I am telling you a story that such people also exist who came from very poor family, who were living in a slum, who didn't have a toilet at home, where they used to make liquor feed down the street, and periodically the police used to come and झोपड़े पट्टी को उड़ा देते थे, जंगल में जाके रहते थे. इससे बढ़िया कहानी मैं कहाँ सुनाऊंगा? अब तुमको आर्ग्यू करना है. You want to do what you want to do it. Do whatever you like.
No timing, sir.
जो करना है वो करो.
आपका टारगेट बना लो बेटा, जितना करना है. आप अपना परिवार का भी ध्यान रखो, जितना कुछ परसेंट ऐसे तय कर लो कि आपको 10% करना है. तो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. क्योंकि मैं भी होटल में कपलेट ढूंढता था, वो बकरियों के लिए पत्तियां बेचते थे. इसके बाद भी हमने सरकारी जॉब छोड़ा. ये तो मेरा पेट्रोल पंप है, मैं उसमें रहता. तो मैंने अपने जीवन का लक्ष्य बना लिया है कि मुझे अपने आवश्यकताओं को कम करना है, सिंपल लाइफ जीना है और अपने बच्चों को भी पढ़ाना लिखाना है और माता पिता का भी ध्यान रखना है. तो बिकॉज पेरेंट्स हैं तो उनका ऋण है हमारे ऊपर. आप पेरेंट्स को छोड़ दे, वो 100% सोसाइटी के लिए करेंगे तो भी तो गलत है.
पेरेंट्स को तो
आपको अपने माता पिता, बच्चों का, परिवार का ध्यान रखना है, रिश्तेदारों का भी ध्यान रखना है. संतुलित लाइफ चाहिए. संतुलन के साथ आगे बढ़िए तो आपका समाज सेवा भी हो जाएगा और आपका परिवार का भी. थैंक यू.
Lot of insights from sir, Shastri sir, and it was I can say a fabulous lecture. सबको अंदर से झंझोड़ दिया सर ने. जिसको जो जाना होता है उसको अंदर से वो लग रहा है यार मैं भी कुछ करूँ समाज के लिए. तो आज सर आपका लेक्चर बहुत मोटिवेशनल था. आपको नहीं लग रहा, हमको लग रहा है.
मैं बच्चों को एक बात बताता हूँ कि आपने 3 लोगों को क्लास में देखा and some videos also I show and this partly ऐसे इसमें से आपने many CEOs and rich people को देखा है, if not in person. Who is more happy? What you wanna happy बनाते. मैंने कहा खुश हो. तो मैंने कहा कि I know dozens of people including myself here जो समाज सेवा कर रहे हैं, कोई भी दुखी नहीं है. उनको कोई स्ट्रेस नहीं है, नो ब्लड प्रेशर, रात को आराम से नींद आती है, कोई डिप्रेशन, काउंसलिंग, ब्लड प्रेशर, टेंशन, कोई कुछ नहीं. विदाउट एक्सेप्शन आई एम टेलिंग. अगर आप खुश रहना चाहते हैं तो दूसरों को खुश करोगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली आप खुश हो जाएंगे. ये मैं बच्चों को
बहुत सही बात.